There's a debate right now online, and it's a debate that we've been having for so long now. We've been seeing this same argument since the beginning of these mascots' careers. And yes, it's Mario versus Sonic. And you have people online that are just all Team Sonic, and it's not even close. And you have people online that are also saying, oh, it's Team Mario, it's not even close. Now, how did this come back up? I really have no clue, but Twitter is just full of Mario versus Sonic stuff, like literally all over my timeline. Now, I think a lot of this came back online because, people were talking about the death battles that were made for this. And if you don't know who Death Battle is, it's a YouTube channel that pretty much just pits two popular characters against each other, loads it up with stats, and then actually has an animation of them fighting each other. And they actually made two different versions of this. And the recent one was about 5 years ago, where they ultimately had Mario winning, but I wanted to kind of recycle through this again. So the first category I want to tackle is the history of who they have fought and what situations they have been in. So Sonic's history, he's defeated Eggman multiple times, which is just a mad scientist with many big robots. Not a big deal, I know, but there are times he actually went into space and actually fought him, and some slight occasions where he could breathe in space, but there were also occasions where they made it seem like he couldn't. He defeated Chaos, which had 7 Chaos Emeralds as the power behind it, and yeah, it was pretty much like an ancient god that he defeated. He defeated Bio-Lizard in space thanks to the Chaos Emeralds, which allowed him to be supersonic with Shadow. He fights Solaris in Sonic the Hedgehog, and technically Sonic 06, which is essentially a god of time. He fought an evil genie who could also be sort of a god with the power of all 7 rings. He fought Dark Gaia, which is essentially a god or even like the devil himself in the center of the earth. He fought an underworld queen named Merlina in Black Knight. He fought another god being of time in Generations, and also the End in Sonic Frontiers, which is like a giant alien planet-destroying god that, yes, not even the old ancients could take out, that Sonic actually had to be the one to do so. So it's safe to say that Sonic has a pretty impressive roster of bad guys that he's taken out. Besides Dr. Eggman, it seems like it's always going to be some type of god or cosmic being that he has to defeat that wants to take over the world. Now, if we count all the Mario games, including the spin-offs like Mario & Luigi and Paper Mario, Mario has also fought himself some really crazy beings. Now, he's fought Bowser in space and even survived the collapse and rebirth of a brand new galaxy. And he can also breathe in space fine in multiple different games. Paper form, he fought an ancient demon Shadow Queen that was buried and imprisoned underground behind a 1,000-year-old door. We have Paper Mario once again with Super Paper Mario, where he fought a magical being that wanted to destroy all worlds and realms in Super Paper Mario, being Dementio. We had Mario and Luigi, where he fought evil queens and the souls of them, like in Superstar Saga, intergalactic aliens that invaded the Mushroom Kingdom, like in Partners in Time, and he also fought the Dark Star, which in a way is kind of like a god. He fought lots of crazy creatures in the dream world and even Dreamy Bowser himself, and he fought Fairy Bowser as a giant version himself as well. Now, the verdict, yeah, even though Mario has tons of crazy enemies in his past as well, Sonic still fought majority of like gods and cosmic beings, so I'm gonna have to give the point to Sonic. Okay, so we got their history down, but let's move on to their movesets. If they were to actually throw some hands, how would it go down? Well, Sonic has some pretty basic punches and kicks, and he obviously has his signature spin dash. And he gets revamped a lot thanks to Sonic Frontiers, where he's able to do like a whole slew of new attacks, but he also has the power of the wisps to change from like a laser, drill, hover. Some of them are pretty whack, but some of them could be quite useful. He's also extremely fast. Clearly, it's Sonic. It's going to be hard for most people, or if anybody, to catch up to him, honestly. And then he has his supersonic form with the Chaos Emeralds. So he has a pretty diverse moveset, more than what they gave him in Smash Brothers, but yeah, he's mostly just punch, kicks, runs fast, and has his supersonic form. The wisp do help, but there's just not that many unique ones that really gives him a super edge up in battle. Now, if you pull from all the games, Mario can have a diverse moveset as well. He has punches and kicks with a super high jump and a ground pound. He naturally can throw fire and emit it out of his hands, thanks to Smash Brothers. He has over 60 different power-ups that give him new moves and items to use. This is not like the Wisp where he only has like 7 to 10. This is 60 different items that do some vastly different things. For instance, there's like a double cherry that can duplicate him, turn him into a cat, abilities that let him fly or swim faster. Yeah, there's a lot. He has a super powerful hammer from Superstar Saga that can break pretty much any block. He has a white Tanuki suit that can make him invincible for an entire level, and he can also turn into Giga Cat Mario or just take a Giga Mushroom in order to turn into Giant Mario. He also has the ability to capture and control enemies, objects, and people with Cappy, which is a huge item. So overall, thanks to Frontiers, Sonic does have a lot more of a diverse moveset when it comes to his different punches and kicks, but Mario just has too many gimmicks under his sleeve. He has way too many items and power-ups and just different wacky things that he can turn into and use at his own disposal, and once again, Cappy is just such a huge move. Being able to actually capture your opponent and turn into them is pretty massive. Now let's go over weaknesses. Now Sonic's big weakness is water of any kind. He can't be under for too long or he'll actually drown. In lots of the TV shows and movies, he doesn't like water at all. In fact, it is known that Sonic can't even swim. So that's a major weakness. He's also very cocky and sometimes doesn't think before he acts and very often runs into his own traps that are very obviously right in front of him, but sometimes his ego gets in the way and he just doesn't see some of the mistakes that he'll make. And also, Super Sonic can be knocked out. You can knock the Chaos Emeralds out of Super Sonic if you hit him hard enough. He can also die if he gets squished, and it actually runs out of juice after a long time. Yes, it can run for a while, but he also needs to collect rings in order to keep himself in this form. It isn't just a free super form, there's a lot that he has to do to keep care of it. Now Mario doesn't really have any weaknesses. He can swim real well, he can jump, he can fly, he can do a whole lot of things in all of his different games. He can even breathe in space, for crying out loud. So I'd say the only real weakness for Mario is how long his invincibilities last. For his invincible Tanuki suit, he has to die 5 times in order to even get it, and he can only use it for a certain stage. So yes, that could be seen as he has to lose 5 times before he even gets the thing, but the Starman as well also runs out after about 5 to 10 seconds. So yeah, it doesn't last very long, but the only thing with this is he can refill on more power stars. He doesn't have to only use one, where Sonic can't just keep getting more Chaos Emeralds. Once the juice runs out, they're gone, or if he runs out of rings, yep, the Chaos Emeralds will fly away. Also, very similar to Sonic, the star effect does go away if you get squished or fall into a pit, so you're not completely invincible. This does make them very close in power, similar to the fact that they both have things to power them up, but there's very easy ways to actually get rid of their power-ups as well, but I think the point is still going to have to go to Mario, considering the fact that Sonic has one really big weakness, and that's water, because there's a lot of situations and worlds and levels in video games, and even in Mario and Sonic games, where you'll have to get into the water in order to get stuff done. Now I want to say this, something else that's just not fair is not including Sonic's combat ability. Sonic has some of the best combat ability out there, and it's actually way better than Mario's. Where Mario gets an item or a power-up, he normally only has like 2 attacks that he can do with that item, but Sonic has a giant slew of attacks thanks to Sonic Frontiers, which actually gives him tons of moveset capabilities, such as making clones of himself, causing giant waves to form, using Psyloop to make enemies dizzy and cause gusts of wind to fly up, super kicks and punches and flurry rushes. Yeah, he has a whole lot, and that's not even including his supersonic form, which has all these abilities and more. He can chain enemies still and freeze them in time. He can also pick up and lift extremely massive and heavy things. I mean, he even took a giant sword in Sonic Frontiers for his own. So yeah, he's pretty powerful in this state, and it could be looked at as more experienced and just a better combat fighter than Mario overall, with slightly more experience. Because outside of Smash Brothers, Mario doesn't really have a good combo set of skills. So with that point, Sonic does raise up to 2 points as well. So enough dilly-dallying. If Mario and Sonic came face to face, who would win? Well, it's impossible to say. Of course, there's going to be situations where I think Sonic could be on top. There's even situations where I think Mario could definitely be on top. It really just depends on a lot of things. But overall, if I had to make a choice, if I had a gun held to my head and they told me I had to make a choice, of course, as Nintendo Land, I'd say Mario. And honestly, the main reason I say that is simply due to Super Mario Odyssey. Yes, Sonic is very, very fast and might be very hard to catch, but people have caught Sonic before. Dr. Eggman has literally picked Sonic up and caught him with lots of his robot mechs. So I think Mario could do some things to finally catch up to him, but it's a matter of how Mario will defeat Sonic, and I think just Cappy alone is something so unique that it very well could get the job done. Mario could literally just throw his hat at Sonic, capture Sonic, and run him into the ocean and then jump out. Mario would win. And that's just one of Mario's various different things that he could do, so I do think there's a good chance that Mario could take the cake just because of his giant arsenal of items and weapons, but there could be a very strong argument for Sonic as well, especially thanks to Sonic Frontiers. But even as a huge fan of Mario, as you guys obviously know, and actually a big fan of Sonic, I want to know what you guys think. Who do you think would come out on top, head to head, Mario or Sonic? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe. And like always, I'll see you all on the next one. See you guys.